chica. Okay, so this is the second video in a 6-part series talking about why am I gaining weight in phase 3. So I basically came up with 6 different factors that affect your ability to stabilize and where you stabilize and all of that. So the 6 different factors are: 1, are you trying to stabilize the correct LDW weight? 2, did you eat the fruits and or melba and grissini on phase 2, which is what we're going to talk about in this particular video. 3, are you exercising on phase 3? 4, fats on P3. 5, adding calories full throttle or easing into it. And 6, can you stabilize a little higher more easily? So this is the second video where we're going to be talking about did you eat the fruits and or melba and grissini in phase 2? Because if you didn't, it's okay, it's not bad, but it does have a distinct bearing on your ability to stabilize in the 2-pound window. So let's talk about that now. So this is kind of a biggie, and that's because more and more people are trying out doing a round of hCG on phase 2 without the fruits. Already the vast majority of us never really ate the grissini and melba, but more and more people are trying it where they also don't eat the fruits and eat more P2 veggies instead and such. I did that myself for 2 rounds and I'm very glad that I did. The reason I liked it so much was because I found that it made the protocol easier for me. I had a lot less cravings on the diet and just overall my experience was a lot better, so that's why I chose to do it. Now, when you do this, you will often lose weight on the scale at a higher rate as well. However, it's important to note that you most likely will have to stabilize your weight higher than the 2-pound window when you do this. So I want to explain why that is. So when you remove the grissini and the fruits from the protocol, it ends up making the hCG diet extremely low carb. And when you do this, your body will end up tapping into your glycogen stores more, which is basically just water that is stored both in your liver and in all your muscles. And your body will end up tapping into those reserves more for fuel than they would if you had kept a little bit higher carb in by eating the fruits. Now, glycogen is not fat, and when your body is in a normal state, you know, like you're eating a normal amount of food and a certain amount of carbs, your body will naturally hold a certain amount of glycogen stores just as a part of, you know, natural health. How much that is depends on your own personal body, how much muscle you have, etc. When you've been fruitless in P2, which I actually have a video all about why you may choose to not eat the fruits on phase 2 and why I chose that in more detail, and I'll link to that. When you do that and then you transition into P3, your body's going to naturally refill any glycogen stores that you've lost right away, and it happens overnight essentially. So that can account for like a very quick gain overnight in a sense, because as soon as you know, even though phase 3 is no starch and no sugar, it's not technically no starch or no carb, because, you know, if you're having nuts or dairy or even regular vegetables do have some carbs in them, not as much as fruit or bread or pasta, but it still has some carbs. So your body's going to latch on to the new addition of higher amounts of food and carbs into your diet in phase 3 and just naturally refill those glycogen stores. And that could actually be a few pounds of weight depending on your body. It's really just what your body does, so there's really no point in trying to prevent that. So basically what I'm saying is that if you do P2 without the fruits and melba, you will have kind of like a fake LDW that's not real because of that extra water glycogen weight that you lost that you wouldn't have lost if you had continued eating the fruits on P2. So I hope that that makes sense. And so what that means is you will have to consciously, purposefully end up stabilizing higher than the 2-pound window. Most likely. I mean, I'm sure that doesn't happen 100% of the time, but that definitely was the case for me. So it's good to be aware of, because otherwise you end up feeling like there's something wrong with your body. You start questioning the protocol. You start questioning, you're like, oh my gosh, did I ruin my metabolism because I feel like I'm hardly eating anything and I'm gaining 2 pounds? But really all it is your body's just refilling the glycogen stores, and as soon as it's done doing that, it's not going to keep flying up. It's going to start stabilizing out. It's just that you need to do that a little higher than the 2-pound window. For me, it was actually like 5 to 7 pounds higher. So just good to keep in mind. The whole reason behind leaving the fruits out of P2 is because it can be mentally advantageous to do it. That's why I had chosen it for myself. I just found that I had less cravings and the diet felt so much easier to me. So that's why I did it. Now, I don't really recommend choosing not to eat the fruits for more weight loss because of what I'm kind of explaining here to you guys. The extra weight loss that you experience by leaving the fruits out, you're not actually experiencing more fat loss from what I've observed. And that's why you kind of have to regain a little of that extra weight loss that you experienced because it was just water. I'm just going to read this one little part to you real quick because I'm having trouble remembering how to say it properly. But I think it's important just to help you kind of see what I mean. When I compare my fat loss from round 4, where I did eat the fruits, and round 5, where I removed the fruits, my actual fat loss was about the same, even though my total weight loss at the end appeared to be higher on round 5. I regained several pounds pretty quickly after round 5, most of which was water and glycogen stores, which I have proof of because of my body fat testing. So I know that that poundage gain was not fat. So just to show you guys how the changes that happen when you don't eat the fruits versus do eating the fruits. Now, if it helps further as a comparison, out of my 4 successful rounds of hCG, where I did follow P3 strictly each time, the 2 rounds I stabilized most easily, rounds 1 and 4, and within the 2-pound window, were the 2 rounds that I did eat the fruits. Still no grissini because I never ate that, but the thing is my body was able to retain its natural glycogen stores because of this, because I was still eating the fruits, so there was no need to recover this in phase 3. As a result, there was the initial little bit of weight fluctuation the first week of P3, but it quickly started stabilizing out and becoming pretty consistent each morning. So I hope that makes sense. So rounds 1 and 4, I did easily stabilize within the 2-pound window. And I do attribute that to the fact that I did eat the fruits on phase 2. So like I said, my body didn't tap into those glycogen stores. My LDW was my true LDW. And so I did. I was pleasantly surprised at how easily my weight stabilized out those rounds. Now, I'm going to just read this a little because I'm having a hard time remembering how to say this properly. In contrast, the 2 rounds that I gained several pounds in phase 3, about 7 pounds actually each time, and keep in mind I was following phase 3 guidelines. These were the 2 rounds that I didn't eat the fruits. This was my 3rd and 5th. My body fat testing showed the majority of the weight gain each of these times was indeed muscle, which I'm kind of putting quotes here because that also includes glycogen stores that your muscles hold. It can be really hard to know what's what without the body fat testing because the added pounds of glycogen and muscle do cause increases in measurements as well because there's no fat loss happening, at the same time at this point to compensate. And of course, whether it's fat, muscle, or glycogen stores, all of them take up space on your body. It's just that muscle and glycogen don't take up as much space as fat. But if you add on muscle or you add, glycogen stores, there will be a little bit of, inch increase in some places. So, it can be a little confusing. But anyway, I wanted to share my experiences there with you guys to show you that I really do believe this, that if you eat the fruits in P2, you can probably stabilize in the 2-pound window pretty easily. But if you don't eat the fruits in P2, like I chose to do, I guess I'm saying you might want to just not worry about stabilizing in the 2-pound window because it's just most likely not going to happen. And that's why you are gaining weight in phase 3, more so than someone else who did eat the P2 fruits. So now you know what's going on if this is you. And so instead of, worrying about it and getting frustrated, let yourself go up a few more pounds and then try to keep it there. You know, exactly how many pounds, I don't know, but you really should start to see your body stabilize out on its own. It's not going to just keep shooting up like that, like 1, 2, 3 pound gains overnight or day after day. You may experience that like 1 or 2 days, but after that, you should start to see it stabilize out and kind of stay around the same weight. And at that point, if it doesn't, you want to kind of go back to my 2 articles on phase 3 guidelines. If you check out phase 3 the best way, that's kind of the most anal way to do phase 3, and you may need to look at that because some people have trouble with things like nuts and dairy, and it makes it hard for them to stabilize if they eat those, even though they're technically allowed on phase 3. So those are things that you might try taking out if you're still having trouble. But anyway, I hope that that's helpful to you guys. And so stay tuned for the other reasons for gaining weight in phase 3. And you can find me on Facebook, hCG Chica, Instagram, hCG Chica, and of course my blog and website, hcgchica.com. And if you want to stay up to date with my latest posts and articles to help you get through your weight loss journey successfully, I highly recommend that you get on my email list. Social media is just really not reliable anymore for making sure that you stay up to date because they just don't show half of what I post anymore to most of you guys. So the only way to be sure of knowing what's most recent is to be on my email list, which you can easily do by just going to my site, hcgchica.com, and you'll see a little bar on the top of my website or on my sidebar or in any of the blog posts at the bottom. You can easily get on my email list that way. Okay, you guys, take care. Bye.